on Tuesday the 30th April with Mike and Nadia and with our little jingle. Great. So what have we just read today? Very long. You read a very long piece, didn't you?
Very long piece from the
Numbers.
book of Numbers.
11.
Yeah.
And so what happened there? We saw the people basically
complaining in the wilderness. So they don't like the manna that God sends them. So they want meat.
How can they not like manna? It's cake.
Yeah.
It's like it tastes like cake. I can think of nothing better than living on cake. But anyway, they don't see it the same way.
And they start remembering how it was in Egypt, that they had other things to eat.
There's quite a specific description, wasn't it? We had cucumbers and melons and leeks and onions. I can't remember those details before.
Yeah.
And garlic. It's interesting. But all we've got now is manna to look at.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's quite common for common behavior to not to appreciate what you have and start remembering how it was
exactly what you had before. Yeah, it's so
you forget
true.
all the hard parts and then you remember the good things that were and complain.
That's right. And then they want meat.
Yeah.
And the Lord is kind of upset, isn't he? Because they're angry. But Moses, as usual, intercedes, isn't he? And he manages to persuade the Lord. He also has his own issues, doesn't he? He says, this is too much.
Yeah.
I can't cope with all these complaining people. There's 600,000 of them. I can't do it on my own.
And I think it was very. I really like this side to this reading that Moses is very open in what he says to God. So he feels that it's too much for him. And he complains, and then God helps him. So he said, you won't have to carry this burden alone. So ask those 70 elders to come together
and share.
And they will share your burden. So I thought that was a very powerful message also.
It's interesting. And then what do you make of these two guys, Eldad and Medad? That's kind of intriguing. Who are just like, Eldad and Medad are prophesying in the camp. And Joshua, son of Nun, and Sister Moses, one of his chosen men, said, my Lord Moses, stop them.
I think it was about Moses' reaction.
Yeah.
Because this Joshua, son of Nun, he said, Moses, stop them, they're prophesying. But Moses said, don't be jealous for my sake, if only everybody could prophesy.
Right.
So he doesn't want to keep all this glory to himself, and
right, so he's not sort of jealous and sort of wanting all the power for himself. Yeah, exactly.
He understands that it's God's glory and...
that's interesting. He's into they're basically prophesying God's glory. So exactly, are you jealous for my sake? That's really interesting. I often think a lot of leaders, there are people around them who actually behave worse. It's a bit like this.
Yeah.
Because it's like most like, I'm cool with that. But the guys around like, you shouldn't be cool with that. It's interesting.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
A lot of people like that. And then, you were going to say?
Yeah, no, it's just that after all, in the last passage, there's this, in the last paragraph, there's finally God's wrath, God's anger coming down on people, and there's a very great plague.
Yeah, exactly, all things with the plague.
Powerful description again.
So they while they were gathering all that meat, all those quails.
It says, well, it was still.
He was angry. I mean, it's intriguing, isn't it? Yeah. Because he sent them the meat, didn't he?
And those quails that they were gathering.
And he sent them plague. I mean, it's intriguing there. It's a lot of complicated stuff happening in this reading. It's really interesting.
And this reference to plague reminded me, it's not about those readings, but just something people might be interested in. Yesterday I watched a film called The Seventh Seal by Ingmar Bergman.
Wow.
And it draws on people's relationship with God, and it was very, very... I'd never seen it before, so yesterday was the first time I saw it. And,
where did you see it? Did you see that in a cinema?
I remember this film club that I told you that they do in a cafe.
Oh yes.
There's an Orthodox church, and then they have a cafe, and once a week they do a film club.
Right. Excellent.
And yesterday, because in the Russian Orthodox calendar is the Holy Week this week,
Ah, of course.
and then they
yeah,
selected
yeah.
something that would be
Right.
powerful.
That's right, because it's Easter, isn't it? On Sunday.
This coming Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So should we go on to the next, our next passage in the New Testament was Luke 5. And that very famous one about going out. And it was actually interesting. Jesus said, there's a comment that I read in those sort of comment book that I have. He says, he asks them to go out into deeper water, doesn't he? He says, he already done this of course, so soon they came and filled both fish. He says, put out into deeper, go out into the one belongs to an ask to put. He says, it asks them to put it out a little way from the shore.
Yeah, so first he spoke to the crowds from there.
Yeah.
But then
He says, put out into the deep water.
yeah.
And let your nets and let down your nets for catch. And there's this idea that when we follow Jesus, we actually go into a sort of into a place where it is deep water, where actually it's sort of unfamiliar territory. You can't stand on the bottom of the sea. That you are letting yourself in for something that is deep and perhaps out of your control. It's quite an interesting comment, that.
Yeah, and actually the way Simon Peter reacts, probably it was just because we read them in parallel, but it reminded me of how Moses spoke to God also.
Oh, right.
So he questions, he asks questions, he expresses his doubts, but he does what
Right.
God tells him.
That's actually very much an interesting comparison. Yeah, because Peter is like one of the rocks, isn't he? He's one of the key guys.
And then he says, we didn't catch anything last night, but if you say so, I will. And then
everything happens.
All those.
Yeah, exactly. If you say so, I will let down the net. So as it works all night. Well, I like that. It's that sort of faith. It's like, oh, okay, fine. Well, if you say so, we'll just let the nets down. And they almost sank as a result of the number of fish they caught.
And then that's how Jesus calls his first disciples. Yes, Peter and Andrew and James and John. And then this famous phrase, do not be afraid, from now on you will be catching people.
Yeah.
So it's also said in slightly different words in Matthew and in Mark.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, that's great.
the beginning of Jesus'
The ministry, it's early days. So they don't actually know who he is at this stage.
Yeah.
He's sort of unknown to them.
But Peter understands. Yeah, he says, "Go away from me, Lord."
For simple man, it's
he
interesting.
doesn't know him, but he realizes straight away.
He fell down at Jesus' knees, saying, it's interesting. Because at this stage they don't know anything.
Yeah.
They haven't really seen. Great. Okay, it's good. Excellent. Okay, have a great Tuesday. Have a wonderful rest of the week. And thank you, Nadia, for coming in today and making this possible, because it's always good to do what we just read. And see you all back tomorrow, 1st day of May. Right, okay, bye.